teach us how to live suffering and can please an end person death and quickly realize number.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto sucedoye alahadi sammya samputoshe.
Namo sadanto sucedoye alahadi sammya samputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。Venerable Master, Dharma friends, welcome to our Sutra lecture. Glad that you're here. My name is Heng Shi. Today is Sunday, March 3rd. Here in Queensland, it's Saturday night, March 2nd, back in California. We're going to be looking into the Flower Garland Sutra. Today is a wonderful, important moment when our hero Sudhana sings his Dharma request to his brand new teacher, Manjushri Bodhisattva, only they don't have an official relationship yet. This is the moment when those ties are forged. So, exciting moment in the progress of entering the Dharma realm, the Ganda Vyuha, chapter 39 of the Avatamsaka Sutra. So, let's get underway. Here we go. And we respectfully acknowledge Kombumerri people of the Ugambi language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where this monastery is located. We pay respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded, which is to say 我们恭敬地承认与冈贝语族的贡布玛里人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。That's right. Furthermore, one more. Here we go. Bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训其法界和平，利益报他能厚德。All right, here we go. Now, in the way we have organized our software broadcast, our live stream, here we go. This is a closed broadcast, and for my side of Zoom, and it's going out to YouTube for folks who are able to download YouTube, but it has to go out on a separate Zoom channel for China, for Taiwan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Philippines, and elsewhere. So I don't get to see who has logged in to the Zoom, my Zoom channel. On the other 2 lectures that I give during the week, I'm able to see who's logged on, and it's great fun. This is the point where I would go through and say, oh look, we've got our Dongbei crowd. Our crowd from Dongbei is here, from the northeast of China, in Jilin and Heilongjiang and Harbin city, and oh look, so many friends from Inner Mongolia today. And then so many friends from Taipei and Tainan and Yunlin and all over Taiwan, Hong Kong, etc. And our friends from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and from all over the United States and Canada. So it's great fun to be able to go through, and because people, when they log on, leave their addresses. We ask them to do that. And I'm enough of a science buff. I was raised in the generation of Mr. Science, who would come on early television. Golly, Mr. Science, Jimmy would say, golly, Mr. Science. And he would explain the wonders of electricity and things like that, and the telephone. And so to be able to have this broadcast go out so far, truly global, I just know that Master Hsuan would approve. And it's so much fun to be able to acknowledge who is where, and to think that they say the Dharma wheel constantly turns, fa luan chang zhuan, and to be able to see that it's turning. There are people who are interested in the Avatamsaka Sutra worldwide. It is truly a community of people who want this Dharma to survive and to flourish. And I opened too early in the morning, I opened the New York Times just to scan the headlines, and was immersed in a cloud of bad news from start to finish. And I thought, later on today, I'm going to be swimming in the Avatamsaka Sutra's adorned ocean of wisdom and compassion. And that's what I want, that light I want to keep burning to penetrate the darkness of the greed, anger, and delusion on display in politics worldwide. So let's do that. With that in mind, what is going on today? Oh my goodness. We have our hero, young man named Sudhana, who has come to the park where Manjushri Bodhisattva is teaching. He's named as the head of a group of 500 young men like him. There are also 500 young women and their parents in two groups, upasakas and upasikas, laymen, laywomen. So a total of 2,000 citizens of Blessings City have shown up. Those are the ones who are named, but we know that along with them are many, many, many more beings of all kinds. Politicians are there. The mayor of Blessing City is probably getting in for a photo op with Manjushri, and because he knows this is a winner. This is a popular place to be, so the politicians are drawn like magnets to wherever the lights are bright, and there's no brighter light than Manjushri Bodhisattva. So they're there, and the gods and the dragons and the Eightfold Pantheon of Dharma protectors have shown up. And so there are visible and invisible attendees in this Dharma assembly. And Manjushri has, he knows this is the essential reason why he has shown up in this place is because the Buddha announced that it's time for the summation of the Avatamsaka's Bodhisattva path to be explained. It's time. It's time for in Buddhist language, the Dharma wheel of the Avatamsaka needs to be turned at this time. So Manjushri has a role to play. He sets a pilgrim on the path. He initiates this young man called Sudhana, good wealth, onto his journey. He gives him his instructions, he fills him full of energy and inspiration, and this is, he has to do that for the story to be told. So Manjushri is the interlocutor, the narrator. He's actually, I guess you could call him the narrator, because he knows the outcome, but yeah, he's the playwright in a way. He is they call him the mother of all bodhisattvas and the teacher of countless aspirants to the bodhisattva path. So we've already seen him initiate 6,000 bhikshus previously, and then cross over a host of dragons who showed up. Now he's surrounded by 2,000 residents whose names we heard, the four assemblies who gathered, and Sudhana comes forth. He's in the spotlight now, and all of this big crowd is around, all the excitement and the electricity and the buzz of this great bodhisattva who is pretty awe-inspiring when it's time for him. The light is very bright, but the focus shifts to this young man. And here's what we know. It goes like this. 尔时善财童子从文殊师利所闻佛如是种种功德，一心亲求阿耨多罗三藐三菩提，随文殊师利而说颂曰。At that time, youth Sudhana, having heard from Manjushri about the various excellent virtues of the Buddha, diligently and single-mindedly sought Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. He followed Manjushri and chanted the following verses. Okay. Now, the pilgrimage begins. Pretty much, it's hard to pin down one point. We're in the process. We're watching the light, the torch get lit. Sudhana's torch has been lit. And the thing the clues that we get from this first paragraph is Sudhana paid attention to what Manjushri was saying, and he heard about the Buddha and what's good about being a Buddha, and he said, I want to do it. Me too. I want to go there. I want to be as tsudzai as the Buddha, as sovereign, as free as the Buddha. And just in that is an important point to make. Sudhana's name means really wealthy. He's got, when he was born, all these miracles of wealth happened in his family. Just all the valuable things just showed up spontaneously because of the blessings that this young man brought with him coming into life. So he doesn't need money. He doesn't need, security for his life. He's set, he's fixed. He's got all the stuff that the world can provide are his. He doesn't want it. That's not what he wants in his life. He has a different set of priorities, which is the lesson here. It's fascinating. He says, I want, diligently, single-mindedly, I want to wake up. Anuttara samyak sambodhi. What is that? That's the bodhicitta right there, the bodhi mind, the bodhi resolve, all these different names for it. That's what he wants. And if there's any single point of the Avatamsaka Sutra, it's this, that people have the ability to look for this. Of all the things we can do with our lives, this is there in the mind. This saying, I want to wake up. I want to have the wisdom of the Buddha. Mind, M-I-N, like a coal mine, mind from my own mind. I want it to be uncovered in my mind. I want this wisdom treasury to show up in my mind. That's what I want. Out of all the options, this is the option. That's the point of the Avatamsaka, is to get people to this point. And something happens, it's kind of like, in Las Vegas gambling terms, this is the jackpot. This is what you want. And everybody can. It's like when the mind says, yeah, me too, of all the stuff, I would like to do this. It's like the lights go up, ding, 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 ding. All the cherries line up, ding, 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 like that. And this is the goal. That's the sutra's goal, is to get people to have this thought. And once you have the thought, the next step is to not retreat from it, not forget it, not to quit, not to give up, get tired, or dilute it. Say, well, yeah, that too, but also I'd like to be famous. I'd like to have a six-pack abs. That's what I'm going to devote myself to, bodybuilding every day. That's all good, nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's not this. In a lifetime, the bodhi resolve, or the bodhicitta, is this high water mark of human evolution, honestly. It's the best thing that humans can do, because once you got this in your sights, you're in the process of realizing it, the self will melt away. You will become selfless. And think about how many people in your life you've met who are truly selfless, who you know, who live for others and benefit others, and joyfully so. And you think, yeah, I know a few, and they're the most important people in my life. Imagine a world full of selfless people who live to benefit others, whose values are, I'm going to set them free. That's the compassion side of the bodhi resolve. In the process of realizing this bodhicitta, this anuttara samyak sambodhi, the self melts away, vanishes. if you give a worldly, something a little closer than this extreme goodness, is a mother who lives for her children. And you know how incredibly impressive that is, to see how much a mother will sacrifice for her own comfort, her own well-being, in order to support and nourish the lives of her offspring. That's the bodhisattva resolve. And for somebody to say, yeah, I'd like to wake up, I'd like to be like the Buddha, and then set to it, and then live that way, you think the world could use more people like that, by golly. And if we had them, it would be a better world. Instead of me and mine. You only go around once in this life, so grab for all the gusto you can get, says Budweiser beer ads. No, that competition creates the marketplace, which is great contention, great greed, great seeking, great selfishness. So the bodhisattva is the opposite of that. The bodhisattva is those 6 guidelines that Master Hsuan named, right? No contention, yielding instead. No greed, generosity instead. No seeking, but contentment instead. No selfishness, but selflessness instead. No pursuit of advantages for me, but sharing the advantages. And no dishonesty, but truth. This is the heart of the bodhisattva. And the bodhi resolve right here, we're watching Sudhana get there. He's got it. And that's what he wants now. Instead of, he could be youth, the leader of the youth of the Blessing City. He's going to go lonely. He's going to go all by himself out there seeking wisdom. So that's the start, and oh boy. Okay, what follows? What follows are, take a look, a 37 verse song. This is Sudhana's song to Manjushri, 37 verses long. Divides into 2 parts. The first 15 are Sudhana's statement about the world. It shows his awareness of how much suffering there is in the world, how much trouble there is in the world, and how the Buddha's wisdom is the solution. He is particularly taken with Manjushri. And he's asking for teaching. Over and over, the refrain in the first section is he's asking Manjushri for help to give him the Dharma, to give him to pack his backpack with what he needs for his journey, for his pilgrimage. Get me set up with the gear I need. Then, the last verse of that first section is, he says, pray, teach me the Mahayana. I want the Mahayana. I want the great vehicle. I want the big car. And the next 17 verses, Sudhana, the summary of each one is, may I ride in that car. I want to ride upon that carriage, in that vehicle. Again, he says, I want to ride that vehicle. Include me. Give me a seat on the great vehicle. I want to ride that bus, he says. And it's, I don't know if you'll all agree with me, but as we go through, as I was reading these, I've very much felt Sudhana's youth, his vigor, his innocence, his enthusiasm for what he's about to do. He's not sophisticated. He's not skilled. He is docile, that is to say, teachable. This flavor comes through in the graphic depictions we have of Sudhana, which always show him kind of with his palms together, leaning forward and deferring to the teacher. He is a vessel that can be filled up with the water of Dharma. So it's very nice to have these verses, which they're, I guess the word is artless. There's no subtlety in them. They're not elegant for elegance sake. They're straightforward from his heart, pure enthusiasm. It's the kind of verses that a 20-year-old boy would write, 20-year-old young man, to a bodhisattva who he looks at and goes, whoa, yeah, I want to be like that. I want to be a Buddha. Can you please teach me how to be a Buddha? So on the strength of his sincerity and enthusiasm, Manjushri says, okay, yeah, I will. Yeah, you're teachable. You're ready. I'll give you what you need. So that's where we are. Let's get started. I think I'll go down, I'll just do the rest of this page and then we'll go to the English. Here we go. Here we go. San you wei cheng guo, jiao man wei yuan qiang, zhu qu wei men hu, ai shui wei qi qian. Yu chi an so fu, tan hui huo qi ran, mo wang zuo jun zhu, tong meng yi zhi zhu. Tan ai wei hui chan, chan kuang wei pei le, yi huo bi qi yan, qu ru zhu xie dao. Qian ji jiao yin gu, ru yu san e chu, huo duo zhu qu zhong, sheng lao bing si ku. All right. Now I'll read you the translation that was the first version of it, and then I'll read the improved version. Right. The three existences are a city's ramparts. Arrogance forms its walls. The paths of rebirth are the doors and windows. Love's water fills the moat. Covered by stupidity's darkness, the fires of greed and anger blaze. The demon king becomes the ruler. Like unknowing children, we follow along. Greed and love are a strong rope. Flattery and deception, the reins and bit. Doubt and delusion veil one's eyes, and one enters crooked paths. Stinginess, jealousy, and arrogance abound. One enters the three evil paths. One falls into the various destinies amid the sufferings of birth, old age, sickness, and death. All right, now my bent is when I see verses meant to be sung, I like to sing them. The problem is, of course, we don't have any models. There's no melody available. Nobody's done this, so we're pioneering it. We're starting out. We're making it happen. So, with that in mind, here we go. Three realms are a city's towers. Arrogance forms its walls. The destinies are the doors and windows. Love's water fills the moat. Covered by stupidity's darkness, fires of greed and anger blaze. The demon king becomes the ruler. Like foolish children, we follow along. Greed and love are a bridle, flattery the reins and bit. Doubt and delusion cover our eyes, and we enter crooked ways. Stinginess, jealousy, and arrogance abound. We enter the three evil paths. Losing human bodies and suffering again, birth, old age, sickness, and death. Pure. Oh, let's see here. Okay, that's where we stopped. There we go. So that's 4. Okay, you get the feeling. He's the reason why I gave it a kind of a blues, urban blues setting, is he's complaining. Sudhana is reading the situation with living beings in the world. He's looking at dukkha, suffering. He is discontented, isn't he? This is why he's not in it. He's not going to try for his share of the pie. He's not going to compete for fame and wealth, success and affluence. No, he's not. He's saying, nope, look, you got 3 realms. We've got desire. We've got form and formless realms. They make a outer wall of a city, and then arrogance cuts us off from each other. Arrogance walls us in, so we think we're here alone, when in fact we're completely connected to all beings, past, present, and future. The destinies, the 6 paths of rebirth, are the doors and windows where we come and go out of this city of existence. And the water of love fills the moat. We think we can jump in and swim across, and we drown. So, pretty eloquent for a 20-year-old kid, spoken word poetry, right? Then he goes on, he says, what are we like? We're covered by the darkness of stupidity, and greed and anger set us on fire, and I got to step on myself because it's tempting to want to identify who the demon king is who becomes the ruler. I don't want to go there. Never mind. And like foolish children, 1/3 of the populace votes for him. What the hell? So greed and love. Then his metaphor is now, this is hard to translate because it's horse-based, and we don't relate to bridles, reins, and bit anymore. But at the time, greed and love are a bridle, something that we put over the horse to control it, so it'll go left and right and stop and go. Flattery, the reins and bit that we also use to fool people, to entice people out. Doubt and delusion cover our eyes so we don't know, we can't tell the truth. We doubt, we hear somebody's lies and we follow, and we definitely go down the wrong road, right? So Sudhana's analysis of what's wrong is a very astute statement about our current cultural malaise, things that make us very sick as a society. Well done, Sudhana, you got it. Furthermore, look, he's going down all of the afflictions. Greed, anger, and delusion, flattery, these are basic afflictions. Doubts, tan chen shi man yi, right? There they are. Now he goes into the subsidiary afflictions. Jian tan, du ji, gong gao. Because of these afflictions, we lose our human body. We're reborn as animals, as ghosts in the hells, undergoing birth, old age, sickness, and death. So Sudhana is speaking Dharma. I mean, this is the yin side of our lives, which the Buddha said is absolutely the case. And yet we pretend like this is not the case, and what we really are into is happiness. We all want to be happy and successful and popular and wealthy, and yet look at what pops up. you could say that Sudhana's kind of very discontent. That's why I gave the dee-da-dee-da-dum, that kind of musical motif for this part of the song. Birth, old age, sickness, and death. Ooh. Okay, now, at this point, Sudhana shifts, says, you can see, won't you give a little time to me? Won't you shine on me? Won't you instruct me? Won't you protect me? You bend to rescue me? So, shift here. This is the first part of the song, and he's not going to. He moves away from his analysis of what's wrong and goes to his direct Dharma request. Okay, here we go. Miao zhi qing jing ri, da bei yuan man lun, neng jie fan nao hai, yuan si shao guan cha. Miao zhi qing jing yue, da ci wu gou lun, yi che xi shi an, yuan que zhao cha wo. Yi che fa jie wang, 法宝为仙道，有空无所爱，愿垂教持我。复之大上主，勇猛求菩提，普利诸群生，愿垂守护我。And finally, 身披忍辱甲。 受体智慧间，自在降魔君，愿垂拔济我。He says, pure sun of wondrous wisdom, whose great compassion forms a perfect wheel, which dries up the ocean of afflictions, pray grant us a little attention. Pure moon of wondrous wisdom, your great kindness forms an immaculate wheel, which bestows calmness on us all. I wish you would shine on me. King of the Dharma realm, with Dharma treasures as your foremost guide, who travels in space without obstruction, I hope you will support me with instructions. Great merchant of blessings and wisdom, courageous in your search for Bodhi, who universally benefits all beings, I hope you will protect me. Donning the armor of forbearance, with wisdom sword in hand, masterfully you quell the demon armies, may you bend to rescue me. All right. He says, pure sun of wondrous wisdom, your great compassion forms a perfect wheel. You dry up the ocean of afflictions, won't you give a little time to me? Pure moon of wondrous wisdom, great kindness forms a stainless wheel, bestowing calmness on the world. I wish that you would shine on me. King of all the Dharma realms, Dharma treasures as our foremost guide, you travel through space without obstruction. Won't you kindly instruct me? Great merchant of blessings and wisdom, courageous in your search for Bodhi, you benefit all beings, I hope you will protect me. Donning the armor of forbearance, with wisdom sword in hand, masterfully you quell the demon armies, may you bend to rescue me. Dwelling on the summit of Sumeru, attended by maidens in samadhi, destroying the asuras of delusion. Lord Chakra, please consider me. 3 existences, a home to foolish mortals. With karma, we're reborn again. The humane one subdues us all. Like a lamp, he shows us the way. Right, I went too far here. I went beyond the Chinese, but we get it. All right. So what does he say? He says, first of all, pure sun of wondrous wisdom, your great compassion forms a perfect wheel. Here it is again. This has been coming up a bunch, the idea of a wheel. And it's a little, we're sort of looking to figure out, we're still undecided how the wheel works. And we've collected the various commentaries. And there are aspects of the wheel. It turns. It's perfect on every side, not more, not less. It crushes. It crushes the one-sided teachings of the teachers that take you out of your own mind into faith in their power, into individuals or methods that go out, 向外, 外道, they're called. So, all the things about a wheel. And it comes up twice. Look, your great compassion, Sun, S-U-N, Sun of wondrous wisdom, your great compassion is a perfect wheel. Moon of wondrous wisdom, your great kindness makes a wheel go stainless, pristine, immaculate. You, Manjushri, dry up the ocean of afflictions. Please give me your attention. Please give me some of your focus. I need your guidance. Give a little time to me. Moon of wondrous wisdom, your kindness is a stainless wheel. The moon bestows calm on the whole world. Won't you please shine on me? Then he goes, King of all the Dharma realms, with Dharma treasures as our foremost guide, you travel through space without obstruction. Won't you kindly instruct me? I guess that could be an exclamation mark, or it could be a question. It's rhetorical. He's not, I guess he is saying, won't you? He hopes the answer is yes, so he is a question. Then he says, great merchant of blessings and wisdom. The Chinese, why is this gray? Did I make this gray somehow? I'm going to close that and open it again. That was losing color here. There we are. King of the Great Merchant. Yeah, that's it. Fu Zhi Da Shang Zhu, that's what it was. The Great Merchant. Okay. He says, great merchant of blessings and wisdom. One who, he's the merchant chief. That it's not that he's selling you blessings and wisdom. That's not the way to interpret that. It's that he's the caravan head. He's the chief of the caravan who takes you across the sands, over the mountains, over the water, safely to the foreign lands where your goods are valuable, and then brings you back intact with your profits to your starting point. So he is that actually in Sudhana's pilgrimage, there are some of his Dharma friends that he meets are merchant chiefs. So, great merchant chief of blessings and wisdom. Courageous in your search for Bodhi, fearless going out to foreign places, foreign lands. You benefit all beings, and I hope that you will protect me. Like the great merchant chief carrying the traders, the merchants out and bringing them back. Then, donning the armor of forbearance, patience that is, holding the sword of wisdom, you quell the demon armies. Okay, there's a little bit, it's funny how the Avatamsaka has no bloodshed. Nobody dies, nobody is defeated, nobody is demolished or smashed. People are shocked when they read the Psalms. The Catholic liturgical year, Roman Catholic year, is based on the Psalms. You recite them from start to finish. You go through the book of Psalms, and that's how every week is a new section. And these are the songs of King David. And when you get to where he's asking God to smash the heads of his enemies, and you go, whoops, that's a little bit violent. So what about here? To quell the demon armies. And Guanyin Bodhisattva, make no mistake, holds swords and pestles and bows and arrows, weapons. But the idea is not that they are shedding blood out of anger or vengeance. It's what they're doing is removing the anger and the hatred from the minds of deluded living beings who are so covered over, who are so twisted and distorted from their own natures that they mistakenly think that subduing the Buddha and his disciples is going to make them happy. Even Devadatta, who was the Buddha's own cousin, who tried to kill the Buddha out of jealousy multiple times, and who then, because of that, fell into the hells, gets saved and becomes a Buddha. So it's the hatred that gets quelled, the animosity in the heart of the demons that gets subdued. The founding story illustrates that, right? Here is Sudhana, here is Siddhartha, the prince, sitting under the Bodhi tree, and Mara, the demon king, sends his daughters to seduce Siddhartha. And it's behind that action is nothing but evil intent. It's not that Mara hopes that his daughters will happily marry the prince. No, he wants his girls to completely break Sudhana's Bodhi resolve. Well, Sudhana, I keep saying Sudhana, it's Siddhartha. And what happens is, instead of fighting back or getting angry, what the prince, the soon-to-be Buddha, does is he fast forwards the three young women's awareness of their lives, and they can see their future where old age overtakes them, and their beauty falls victim to old age, and their skin dries up, and they get osteoporosis, and their hair turns white, and they're no longer objects of male desire. So in their old age, they see themselves that way, and they freak out naturally, and they lose their interest in obstructing Siddhartha. So he completely destroys their will to and their ability to harm him through inciting his desire. All right? That's different. That's different than smashing the daughters. Then the demon king goes, "Curses foiled my plot." And he says, go get him. And he releases his demon armies to come and destroy Siddhartha, just to do him in, to kill him under the Bodhi tree. So he won't become the Buddha. That's his goal, is to, at any cost, at all costs, to stop this progress. So what is our story? It's a wonderful legend. What does our hero do? The demons' armies all loose their deadly arrows at him. And as the arrows are arching through the air to come down and skewer him, sitting there in full lotus beneath the Bodhi tree, the prince goes poof, the arrows turn to flowers, and they poof, rain down. And at this point, Mara is really distraught. Curses! And the next thing he does is he says, nobody's going to acknowledge you as the Buddha. Who says that you're enlightened? And the prince touches the ground and the earth goes. He says, the earth is my witness. All of nature celebrates when someone accomplishes Buddhahood. And sure enough, and at that point, Mara retreats. So he has defeated, he has quelled the demon armies, but not through violence. And you have to look at that. You have to think for a minute. This is indeed one of the major aspects of the Buddha's teaching throughout is nonviolence. Buddhists make lousy soldiers, and they make great medics, and potentially great generals if they're able to maneuver the troops to save lives and to prevent suffering. Why is this true? Are Buddhists wimps? What is this about Buddhists? And the idea is, with the pure understanding of cause and effect, they understand that conflict can be resolved. Conflict arises from the mind. And if, when somebody disagrees with you or comes to violently oppose your progress, if you only reach out with strength and crush them, you haven't changed the trajectory of their willpower, of their evil intent. It will return, and furthermore, you've added a debt. They owe you one crushing. So you haven't really changed things, you've added a burden to it. Instead, if you can get to the original source of their hatred for you, why? Do they owe you harm? Did you hurt them in the past and now it's coming back? Well, sooner or later, that will find you. So are you able to endure it sooner? Then it's over. You've untied that knot. And even at the cost of a life, your own, the next time you will be back and you won't have that negativity between you. It's remarkable how that deep understanding, what it calls upon is courage. You have to be willing to untie it. Now, does that negate just evil in the world? No, there is evil, and it's not the case that by passively opposing evil, the evil goes away. But the question is, how will you respond to the evil? If it's coming to you, you can endure the negativity and put an end to it. But if you only respond to negativity with hatred, as the Buddha says, only through love or loving kindness is enmity appeased. Hatred has never ended hatred. So when you meet fighting with fighting back, it's going to continue. See you again. If you can endure and instead say to the person who is bearing you hatred, I understand how much that hurts. And the only way to end the pain is to resolve it in your mind. the pain is real, but to shoot it out only continues it. That's not the way to put an end to it. And as Master Hua would say, 争是胜负心与道相违背，边生四相心由和得三昧. Fighting is an attitude of victory and defeat, winning and losing. It stands in opposition to the Tao, 与道相违背. Furthermore, fighting creates self and others. Where will you ever get samadhi? Where will your samadhi come from? And samadhi is the goal. And samadhi arises from concentrated stillness. So focused stillness, not through fighting. And as soon as you have fighting, the fighting arises in the mind, and oh my gosh, there's no samadhi whatsoever. So, 争是胜负心与道相违背，边生四相心由和得三昧. Fighting creates the attitude of victory and defeat. It stands in opposition to the way. It's the opposite of the Tao. Furthermore, creates self and others, the four marks, living beings and the lifespan. Where is your samadhi going to come from? So that's profound, deep insight, and it's hard to do. Most people disagree. Most people don't go for it, right? So anyway, here is violence in the Avatamsaka. No, he's quelling the demon armies, but not by crushing them. Now, having said that, mind you, there's also around the Buddha, there are Vajra, Jinggang Li Shi, Vajra knights, who are not so careful with who they smash. And in order to protect the Dharma, they will happily cut the heads off any demons. So there's that story of the patient immortal who was cut to bits by the king of Kalinga, who was determined to show that the patient immortal had thoughts of hatred and vengeance. The patient immortal said, no, I really don't hate you. I know that I owe this to you, and if I fight back, I'm just adding to it. So he can be patient. However, the gods and the dragons surrounding the patient immortal were not patient, and they rained down this hailstones and thunderbolts on the king of Kalinga, who terrified him. So yeah, it's there's that other part about who's around the Buddha who is protecting him violently. So yeah, so the Buddha said, okay, not only do I want you gods to stop raining hailstones on the king, in the future, I'm going to cross him over first. He's going to be my first disciple. So if you really have wisdom, you can see why the enmity and hatred exists and what's going to happen in the future. So this is not blindly saying, oh, you go ahead and kill me, it's fine. There's real deep insight into the process, but it's all based on cause and effect and understanding that what goes around comes around. So it's that's where this arises. Okay, let's move forward a little bit here. We got some more. I wish you would shine on me. May you bend to rescue me. Let's do one more. Yeah, actually, we've got a few more to go. Here we go. Now, let's see. We need a more positive. He shifted away from his kind of jaundiced analysis of the pain and misery. Let's make this a major scale. Here we go. 诸法须弥定，定律常公事，灭火阿修罗，地势圆观我，三有梵语斋，火业地趋因，仁者悉调伏，汝等是我道。 舍离诸恶趣，清净诸善道，超诸世间者，是我解脱门。世间颠倒之， 常乐我今乡，只言其能力，开我解脱门。善知邪正道，分别心无缺，一切觉了人，是我菩提路。He says, dwelling on the summit of Dharma on Sumeru, attended always by maidens in samadhi, destroying the asuras of delusion, Lord Chakra, please consider me. The three existences are home to foolish mortals. Our causes make karma, we're reborn on earth again. The humane one subdues them all. Like a lamp, he shows me the way. O you who renounces evil paths, who pursues all paths of good, who transcends the mundane world, show me the door to liberation. In a world inverted and attached, the wisdom eye leaves the world behind. With thoughts of nirvanas, four qualities, open for me the door to liberation. Skillfully knowing crooked and straight paths, one of fearless, discriminating mind, who has decisive understanding in all, show me the Bodhi road. All right, Sudhana is asking for Dharma. He's saying, please start me out on this quest. He's asking the right person. He's asking Manjushri. Notice here, look, he calls him Chakra. It metaphorically, right? He knows it's Manjushri. But he gives him, instead of having him be a general who's quelling demons, instead of having him be a great merchant chief, instead of having him be the king of the Dharma realm, or the moon of wisdom or the sun of wisdom, here he's calling him Lord Chakra. So this is praise of Manjushri's all-sidedness and his ability to teach. He says, living on the very top of Mount Sumeru, where Lord Chakra in the heaven of the 33 gods lives, attended by maidens in samadhi. Look at this one. This is very interesting. Chakra has 1,000 sons, 1,000 children, boys. And you know he's got to have 1,000 wives in order to make that happen. So if you're one of the perks of being a god, the chief of the gods in the heaven of the 33, is you've got a big family. Indeed. So the maidens, these are Devis, not Devas, Devis. These are Tiannu, right? And what about them? They're in samadhi. They're paying attention. They're his following, his group, his community, and they are very successful cultivators in samadhi. And what do? They destroy the asuras of delusion. Notice the skill in Sudhana's verse. He's working with what? Devas in the second desire realm heaven, the heaven of the 33, are always being attacked by the asuras. Very similar, those of you who remember your Edith Hamilton, the gods of Mount Olympus are always fighting with who? The Titans. The Titans, these massive, huge warriors, are always chasing up Mount Olympus to overthrow the gods of the Greeks and fighting with them constantly. Interestingly enough, leave the Hellenistic world and travel east to the world of India, and you have Chakra Devanam Indra, on the top of Mount Sumeru, Fighting with who? The Asuras, who are described just like Titans. Exactly. So we have two mythologies overlapping. That's someone, I haven't seen the scholar. If anybody has access to a scholarly treatise on similar themes in the legends of the Hellenistic world and the Indian world, I'd love to read it. Because here it is, to my mind, identical. Titans, Asuras, the gods of Mount Sumeru, the gods of Mount Olympus, struggling. And the Avatamsaka gives us great detail about Lord Chakra, how he can use psychic powers to fight the Asuras. Fascinating. So here he says, the Asuras of delusion, not the actual Asuras. Interesting. So Sudhana, skillful, right? He's saying, there you are, Manjushri. I'm going to paint you as a god in the heavens, on top of Mount Sumeru, with your heavenly maidens attending to you and fighting with the Asuras of delusion. Lord Chakra, please consider me. Nice verse. He's got some poetic skill here. This kid is not simple, as he's here praising Manjushri. All right. The three existences are home to foolish mortals. Let's see now. I'm going to go back to my improved verse. Dwelling on the summit of Mount Sumeru, attended by maidens in samadhi, destroying the Asuras of delusion, Lord Chakra, consider me. Three existences, a home to foolish mortals, desire form and formless realms. With karma, we're reborn again. We come back because we don't know. We don't know how to deal with it. We're confused by what meets our eyes, and we go for it again. Look, I thought it looked pretty good, so I had ordered that second cocktail, and everything unraveled. The humane one subdues us all like a lamp. He shows us the way. So Sudhana praises him as the humane one, Renja, and he subdues us, shows us how to do it. Okay, what else? You who renounce the evil paths, you walk the paths of goodness, you go beyond the mundane world in the marketplace, fighting and grubbing for success and fearing failure, running for pleasure, running away from pain. That's the mundane world. We pass our lives all day long pursuing pleasure, running from pain, pursuing pleasure, running from pain. Show the door of liberation. Sudhana says, I want out of that. I want off that hamster wheel. Give me something better. In a world inverted and attached, upside down, wisdom eyes leave the world behind. With thoughts of nirvana's four virtues, open the door of liberation for me. Sudhana is showing that he's got some knowledge in the Buddha Dharma, isn't it? He's showing off his ability to handle Buddhist vocabulary. What are nirvana's four virtues? Chang le wo jing. This is interesting. Permanence, because samsara is impermanent. Happiness that doesn't go away, because samsara, there's happiness, but it vanishes. Joni Mitchell says, pleasure leaves too early, trouble leaves too slow. It's true. Changla Wo. Nirvana is true self, the self based on great compassion. Tongti, a body that is identical with all things. Samsara thinks that this is me, and when it dies, that's it. Well, not. And then Jing, purity. It's the purity from no affliction. And what is samsara is the five turbidities, the world of constantly losing its boundaries and leaking. The five turbidities. Wu zhuo e shi, it's always losing its shape. So, four virtues in nirvana, changla wo jing, permanence, joy, true self, purity. Sudhana says, yeah, that's what I want. Knowing the right road, knowing the wrong road, pursuing the right road, avoiding the wrong roads, your fearless, discriminating mind gives us decisive understanding. Please show me how to get to that place. Show me the Bodhi road. That's where we picked up. We've got 1, 2. Show me the Mahayana. Show the Mahayana to me. Okay, we got 3 more. Just 3 more, and then we get to the. This is the 13th, 14th, and 15th, the first section. The next, after this, we get to all these verses of, may I ride that carriage. All right. Show me the Bodhi way. There it is. Right there. We'll do 3. Here we go. 诸佛正见地，常佛功德树，于佛妙法华，使我菩提道。去来现在佛，处处悉周遍，如儿出世间，为我说其道。善知一切业，深大诸圣行，智慧决定人，使我莫合言。He says, dwelling in the ground, Buddha's proper views, you who nurture the Buddha's trees of virtue, and rain down wonderful Dharma flowers, show me the Bodhi way. Buddhas of past, present, and future, who pervade everywhere, like the sun appearing in the world, speak of the way for me. And finally, you who know about karma and understand others' ways, one of decisive wisdom, show me the Mahayana. Now, I translate that last one different. I disagree with that translation. Here we go. On the ground of the Buddha's right views, you nurture Buddha's virtue trees. You rain down the finest Dharma flowers. Show me the Bodhi way. Buddhas of past, present, and future, pervading everywhere, like the sun appearing in the world, speak of the way for me. And finally, with your knowledge of karma, every practice and where it leads, one of decisive wisdom, show the Mahayana to me. All right. So, last 3 in this section. He says the Buddha is a gardener, or Manjushri, that is a gardener. On the ground of the Buddha's right views, you nurture Buddha's virtue trees. Okay, there's a new one. Virtue tree, tree of virtue. You rain down the finest Dharma flowers. Show me how to get there. I want that, says Sudhana, requesting Dharma. Buddhas of past, present, and future, pervading everywhere like the sun appearing in the world. Tell me the Tao. I want to hear about the Tao. And finally, with your knowledge of karma, every practice and where they lead, where those practices lead, where they lead. One of decisive wisdom, show the Mahayana to me. Finally, we get that he owns it. He says, I want the Bodhisattva path. Show me the Mahayana. All right, folks, Sudhana's song to Manjushri, that's the first 15 stanzas. He's requesting Dharma, he's listening to himself, he's putting his thoughts together, because you don't get to rehearse. He didn't plan this. Manjushri showed up, and he got inspired. This is a chance. So out comes all of these ideas that are, they're kind of, I find them innocent and spontaneous. You can imagine a 20-year-old kind of kneeling down there. He's probably blushing because he's not used to singing in front of 2,000 people. But he's focused on Manjushri, and his life is at a crossroads. Once he says all these things to Manjushri, he starts. He's done. He is no longer leader of the youths of the City of Blessings. He's a pilgrim. He's leaving home. He's setting out on the road from here on. And so there's no turning back from this. And Sudhana is, you're seeing somebody whose heart has just caught fire. And he's determined now to grab this chance to have Manjushri, the Bodhisattva of great wisdom, in his hometown, accessible and looking at him. He's not going to drop the ball. He wants to make this work. Here's his chance. And I really respond, to, I can visualize what it must be like. And I'm encouraging him to not lose his chance. This is amazing, right? And everything changes with this request. He says, this is what's wrong with the world. Afflictions, arrogance, love, stupidity, greed, and anger, demon king leading us. We follow him like foolish children. Greed and love, flattery, doubt, delusion, stinginess, jealousy, arrogance, 3 evil paths. We lose our bodies. Old age, sickness, and death makes us suffer. And here's the wisdom sun. Here's the wisdom moon. Here's the king of the Dharma realm. Here's a great merchant chief. Here's the great general who can banish demons. Here's Lord Chakra and Mount Sumeru. Here's the humane one with a lamp who leads the way. Here's someone who knows good and evil and can teach it to me. You have wisdom eyes open. You can show the door of liberation, the Bodhi road. You're a gardener. You can show me the Bodhi way. You can speak of the Tao. You have decisive wisdom. Know the Mahayana. Please teach me, if you please. That's what he says. And then now, from now on, it's very interesting. This next week, there's a shift here. He takes this Mahayana, and people know Mahayana means great vehicle. The Dachang, right? It's a big car. It's a bus. It's an SUV with multiple seats. And Sudhana takes that metaphor home, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 verses that all end with the same refrain. I want to ride in that one. That's my, may I ride upon that carriage? We may change that before we try to sing it next week. But I want to ride in that car, he's saying. And you might say he's looking at, torsion bar suspension and ported Venturi carburetors and, 42, 49, giddy up, 409. The Beach Boys. I don't think so, but it's similar. What have we got in our culture? We've got the Beach Boys singing about my little deuce coupe. Sudhana is praising the little deuce coupe in your 409. Yeah, you're supercharged, disc brakes, etc. So yeah, it's he's praising the great vehicle. and wants to ride on it. And it's a very interesting song. It's a song about a car. So that's the Avatamsaka Sutra. People say, oh, that Avatamsaka Sutra, it's all philosophy. It's so erudite, nobody can follow it. Why lecture that? Because we like stories about cars, songs about cars from 2,000 years ago, sung by a young man who really wants to ride in that vehicle. All right, coming up. Yeah, most people complain about the Avatamsaka because they never read it. They have no idea what's in it. Wanted to share this. This is, people ask about this. I've been going through my archives and I found this photo. This was the president's dinner in Washington, D.C., the president being George H.W. Bush. So when was that? Somebody have to, was it 2000? No, it was 1992, maybe 1992. This is Rosalind, who is the visionary that created the Gold Coast Dharma realm where we are. Here's Master Hua. Here's our current community, Dharma Master Heng Gui, Helen Wu, Doug Powers, Hector Wong, Dharma Master Lai, Ron Epstein. This is Dr. Huang Minglu and Annie Chung. This is H.W. Bush's, President Bush's Secretary of Education and his wife, who was our guest at the table. This fellow here, interestingly, people will be interested. This is Yan Xin. Yan Xin was, there was a time in China, just after the Cultural Revolution, when Qigong was a big deal. Religion was forbidden, Qigong was okay. That was China's religion. Yan Xin was the most celebrated Qigong master in China. He is famous for using his Qi to be able to pick up Volkswagens. He could also put out forest fires by projecting his Qi. He was a powerful guy. I don't think he was ever, I don't think there was any scandal. I think he kept his good reputation to the end. Many Qigong masters were exposed as frauds and defamed. He was invited by Harvard and Columbia, both, to come and investigate because of his abilities. He lived at City of 10,000 Buddhas for a couple of weeks and he went to Washington, D.C. as our guest for the president's dinner. So, interesting. April 2004 were the first conversations about the potential of Gold Coast Dharma realm. Here it is, golden beaches. This was how it used to look before our big renovation. And Guanyin Bodhisattva is up here. This is where she used to stand. This is now a golden Sharira stupa, right where Guanyin was. There she is. And this was, I put this slideshow together back in the early years. This was our Buddha Hall back then. It's now our library. Yeah, so just to say, that was our Bodhi tree. That's how big the Bodhi tree was that is now flourishing. Our Bodhi tree is doing really well. I made these photos to take back. Here's the Buddha Hall back then. People chanting. I made these photos to show to our association. When I came back from Australia, I showed these slides to our board so they got a sense of those who didn't have the blessings to come to Australia. This was the Buddha Hall back then. We have grown, indeed. This is Agwan, who will be here soon, coming from Malaysia to celebrate our Emperor Liang's repentance. So many of these folks are still with us. This is giving a tour of the what existed of the campus back then. This was our library at the time, now the office. Restore Bodhisattva. Classroom building is still in use, soon to be replaced. Meditation hall is still in use, but look at it. That's how it looked back then. Yep. Panorama. And this was before we had made friends with the birds and the animals. Now, if we were to do this again, we would certainly see wallabies and kangaroos and cockatoos and the like. This is the Arhat Trail, which is unchanged and just as wonderful now as it was then. Yep. Very tidy. And I was new to Australia, and I was very impressed at the time with, there's Amitabha. Oh, that Buddha was a different Buddha. Here's people bathing the Arhats, Guji and Agwan. Here's the Dharma protector. I was very impressed with these characters. This was a sizable orb weaver, golden orb weaver. Since then I've learned. So, good day, mate. All right, here we are. To let people know, the Berkeley Monastery events are unchanged, so we're not going to have the report. But if we go to GCDR Chinese, we can find out what's ahead here for the Gold Coast. Lectures every Saturday, that was yesterday, at 12:30 p.m. This is it. So, coming up in a week will be the Liang Hongbao Chan, Emperor Liang's repentance, running from the 9th to the 16th, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and a lecture in the evening. If you want to, anybody want to shoot that QR code while it's on the screen, you can get all the details on your phone, WeChat. The session will be live streamed. Plus we have meditation class every Saturday, and the precepts for the deceased, Yoming Jie, is coming up on the 17th of March. Precepts for the deceased, Yoming Jie. There's a QR code if anybody wants to scan that. Okay, there we go. We can dedicate merit. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find giving unity. May our minds compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. And we finish with bows to the Buddha. I'll ring the bell here. I want to express my appreciation to everybody who makes this lecture possible. All the volunteers. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. We'll see you all next week for more of Sudhana's song from Manjushri. Amitofo. Bye, everybody.